Ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages, solo leveling is the power fantasy we needed. And hot take, the man's right. Solo leveling's great. All right, so for those of you that are unaware, there's this new anime coming out right now. It's power fantasy, it's not super deep, and it's just incredibly badass. A lot of people are up to date in the anime that are saying, Nux, why do you keep calling it a power fantasy? It's just this whole people walking into a dungeon and getting their assholes stretched by a giant statue. And to them I say, you are not ready for the levels of power fantasy we are about to watch. SCP power fantasy coming here. All right, let's see Gigguk talking about the manwa. I actually did read the entire manwa for this years ago, so let's see what we got.
Hey fans are fucking losers.
Yeah! Wait, what?
Well, this video is off to a great start. I'm sure a lot of us weebs who got into anime. Video is off to a great start. I'm sure a lot of us weebs who got into anime and manga at an early age had a similar experience when they came to
oh my god, what the hell is that?
To our schools or the kids around us. Some of us may have been ridiculed. Some of us may have been told to grow up and stop watching cartoons. And some of us may have just been straight up bullied and called losers.
I'm a loser, baby, I'm a loser. Bro, what the? This is how every Gigguk video started in 2020.
We were outcast of the social hierarchy and
this is every Gigguk video. No, Gigguk, no!
And if I'm being real, I think this is a big reason why power fantasy stories have seen the monumental success that they have.
I guess to an extent, I think that's actually a very good take on his part. I think a lot of people end up using anime to escape, so once you're escaping, you want to self-insert character that's just awesome, and nothing does that better than solo leveling.
Get up all the arrogant jocks and get all the chicks, and his secret OP talent is being a gamer?
Yes!
It's a shallow reason, but it's true. We might not want to admit it, but the viewership and sales numbers don't lie because we can't seem to stop fucking reading it.
It's true. The reason why power fantasy is everywhere and people are annoyed about it being so gratuitous and ubiquitous is simply because gamers rise up. You can't spell gamers without ga.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is, it's about time weebs got our spotlight as the most oppressed group in the world over the current one.
Gamers.
The problem is that
oh my god, he didn't make the gamers meme. There's no way he did the oppressed group gamers meme. Oh my god. Dude, this is the problem with saying skibbity toilet riz in all of your videos. Someone is gonna go back and watch a 2-year-old video you made, and they're gonna be like, oh my god, this guy sucks.
The landscape became so saturated with them that it became impossible to tell good power fantasy shows from bad power fantasy shows.
What is this, Ari Furetto? Is that his reference for a good power fantasy show?
Because they were all bad.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we called it. We called it, baby. We were so right and real for that. He's so base. Gigguk, I was wrong to question your baseness.
When the industry realized that all it took was one self-insert protagonist put in some generic fantasy world, surrounded by a bunch of cardboard cutouts that were easily mistaken for women, they just
women
started to make a lot.
Okay, but like in their defense, Overlord's pretty good, okay?
Nope, keep going. Like a little.
Well, in their defense, Slime Isekai is pretty good. Oh my god, stop doing it! Okay, Log Horizon's awesome. Cautious Hero is great. And Mushoku Tensei is fine. Yeah, that's it.
We go. Time to add these shows to the list of things I'm gonna watch before Full Metal Alchemist.
God damn it, bro! I can't believe he still hasn't seen that.
So bad that even me, Mr. Power Fantasy Isekai Trash Man, Grant UK, got.
Oh my god! Is that Mr. Power Fantasy Isekai Trash Man Grant UK?
Bored of it. That is, until I started hearing whispers.
Until something started tickling your penis.
Of this new webcomic called Solo Leveling.
And your dick was never flaccid again.
A series that had gained immense popularity over the past few years that had put it as the 27th best manga of all time according to...
Even though it's not a manga. That's pretty awesome.
To Mao.
You know you're a badass when you're one of the top manga of all time and you're not even a manga!
The Power Fantasy series to end all Power Fantasy series.
And what's so wild is, even though it's been years of Power Fantasy stories constantly trying to one-up each other, with Overlord was strong and he could summon black holes to suck up angels, and then you have freaking the next one where you got, oh, this slime guy can absorb every power ever, and then oh, you got freaking, and every Power Fantasy comes to just completely revamp and flex on the previous Power Fantasy with all of that power, with all of that strength, with all of that literal power scaling constantly getting stronger and stronger. Dude, we have the power fantasy of all power fantasies right now in Eminence in Shadow, which is peak power fantasy. Even Eminence in Shadow is not a power fantasy that could dethrone solo leveling.
And you may be thinking, what revolutionary thing did this series do that no other series before it had done to make its claim above all others?
Gamers. It added stat trees, but only to the main character.
Is that it?
That's not, no!
I thought we were building up to a bigger point. Solo Leveling, originally a Korean manhwa called
that?
You know what? I'm not even gonna try.
Called this.
Look, I already butchered the Chinese words in the link click video, and now you expect me to speak fluent Squid Game?
Don't you ever call me that?
Strange gates to fans.
Oh no, fluent Squid Game. Oh no!
Sea realms.
Dude, I remember because that was relevant back then. Oh god, dude.
Gradually,
this is why you can't say Skibbity Toilet Riz in your videos.
Appear throughout our world, containing an array of powerful monsters and beings. Around the same time as this, select members of humanity gained various powers and used them to combat this ongoing threat.
Now, my favorite part about this gimmick is that people that got powers, their powers do not change. Their powers don't get stronger, their powers don't get weaker. They are in a completely static state, where if you got a great power, good for you. If you got a bad power, you're gonna really have to rely on your Skibbity Toilet Ohio Riz Kaisanat, okay? Otherwise, you're fucked.
These people became known as hunters and grouped themselves in different guilds who team up to assault these gates, killing the monsters and farming the resources within, like, you know, an MMO. The hero of...
Speaking of the hero, remember how I said that your powers never change or fluctuate and you just remain completely static in your power level? Well, that's the one thing the main character can do that everyone else can't. And that creates the greatest power fantasy story of all time.
Story 1, Song Jin-woo is ranked one of the weakest hunters in...
No, he is ranked the weakest hunter.
All of Korea, even referred to by his peers as the literal weakest hunter in the world.
Now that's a flex.
It's basically just a little baby man.
Little baby man. Little baby man.
However, one day upon his...
Oh my god, dude, I can't take the random Gigguk memes. Oh god, dude. It's crazy that Gigguk's been making content for like a decade now, or maybe even longer, and he's still improving so much every year.
Level dungeon by mistake, shit very much hits the...
Dude, that smile, I see it in my nightmares.
Fan as the monsters within them obliterate their entire party. Apart from the little baby man, of course.
Baby man.
Though he does die, he somehow managed to clear a secret set of trials within the dungeon and wakes up in a hospital bed after the incident with a
spoilers for episode 3.
Unique ability to literally be able to level up.
Yup, baby. Now that is how absolutely wild and insane the power fantasy is. And it's so cool how just this one tiny little gimmick can create such an insane and enthralling world where you can really insert yourself in an insane fashion.
Full-blown fucking menus and inventory screens in front of him in the real world, gaining experience and skill trees and all sorts of bullshit like, you know, an MMO. And so begins the rise of...
It's like he is living, playing a video game in real life. That's the beauty of solo leveling, because he is the only person, the solo person in this world that can actually level up. Imagine living in a world where everything around you is static and scary, but you have the ability to grow. That's why it hits so hard, and that's why it really tickles the boner of power fantasy enthusiasts to such a huge degree.
Song Jin-woo, from being a little baby man to becoming an ooh baby man.
Oh god damn it. Oh, this script, they don't write themselves.
What the fuck am I doing? This may sound very similar to your typical isekai power fantasy story, and if I'm being real,
it is.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, except
the series clearly borrows a lot of elements from the genre, even if it's not technically isekai. But what I think really makes Solo Leveling work is that it takes elements from your typical OP isekai power fantasy and adds an element from your typical popular shonen anime.
Here's something funny. A lot of isekai protagonists, you know, they're incredibly overpowered, they're always winning, all that shit. And they just have absolutely no chance. The opponents suck, and the main character is incredibly overpowered. He has all the spells and all the gimmicks and all the bullshit. And there you have someone, you watch him go from the very bottom to the very top. This isn't getting transported to an alternate world as an overpowered character, right? This is in being in your world with your struggles and your past, except now suddenly you can grow. I think this hits a totally different craving when it comes to power fantasies.
You know, the other most popular genre in anime and manga.
In shonen, you always have the little baby man, right? Naruto wants to be the greatest Hokage, and Luffy wants to be the Pirate King, and Deku wants to be the #1 hero, and all that shit. That idea, that concept of growth is really powerful and acts as a self-insert character. Not as a power fantasy per se, because as appealing as a power fantasy is, just being completely overpowered, there's also such a vast, incredible appeal of growing from this little tiny, pathetic little beta pussy bitch like you into something awesome and badass. It's that level of growth that people are attracted to as well. Solo Leveling has found a way to combine a power fantasy and the growth for that the main character overcomes. It's the ultimate self-insert because you have literally the best of these two completely separate worlds.
Hunters are power ranked from S to E. The main character is an underdog working his way up the rankings. Unlike a lot of power fantasy isekai, Sung Jin Woo doesn't instantaneously power up. When he reawakens, he is still an E-ranked hunter. He just has the ability to grind his level up, and oh boy, does he do some grinding. Sung Jin Woo, and only Sung Jin Woo, gets access to these special dungeons with high-level bosses and rare item drops.
Right, because he's playing a video game in his real life here. He's one of the most depressed people, gamers.
And of course, like any true gamer, you gotta do all the optional side quests so you're stupidly overpowered for the final boss. You actually get to see his progression throughout the series, constantly on the verge of death in these dungeons.
And he's constantly growing. He's constantly grinding. It's a power fantasy self-insert. You put yourself into this overpowered guy, but it's also inspiring and makes you want to do better because you can improve yourself. You can improve your life. You can freaking improve who you are, dude.
But he gets rewarded by the level he gains, the weapon he acquires, and the abilities he develops. I guess you could say he was leveling up on his own.
Or solo leveling for sure.
Wait a minute, that's not the title. What this means though is that it's just
Nice.
that much more satisfying when Sung Jin Woo goes back to the world to take on normal dungeons. Look, seeing someone almost fucking die and doing a life or death optional side dungeon several times above his level, only to go on and breeze through the main quest area to the amazement of others, struck a chord with me, alright?
Dude, I love that scene so much. That scene was insane, right? He's doing all these crazy side quests. He's leveling up like crazy. And then it's main quest time. And you have all the actual characters that are struggling in this world, seeing this guy who is known as the weakest fucking hunter. And he's just looking at you and he's like, "Cruise loose boozer and only 1 star's refuser. You're a power bottom at..." Wait, no, that's not the right.
Right? Because that's exactly how I play RPGs too. Yes, it's a complete wish fulfillment power fantasy, but you know what? At least it felt like he earned it.
That's the craziest thing. When you're watching a power fantasy isekai anime, you really don't feel like they deserve it, right? The main character in Slime Isekai, he does not deserve to be as overpowered as he is, okay? Listen, I'm watching Overlord, and I know he leveled up before he got trapped in the game and all that shit. He doesn't deserve to summon a black hole and suck up all these guys. And these shows are great in their own level, right? Smartphone guy with a smartphone is overpowered. He does not deserve that power. Someone like Naruto, someone like Deku, right? Like, while you can have complaints about these characters, but you saw how much they struggled. They do somewhat deserve it. You have a lot of characters that you really feel like deserve it because of how hard they try. And Sung Jin Woo's power is directly correlated to how much effort he's putting into it, bro. And that's why you feel like he deserves it in some weird way.
Look, I'm not going to pretend that the world isn't stupidly stacked in his favor, though.
Oh yeah, it is. Like, let's not make believe this is like some of the highest quality writing in the history of time. This is a power fantasy.
Is the only hunter who was able to level up while everyone else can only remain at the power level they were given when they first became hunters. I repeat, he has the ability to power up while everyone in the world is at a fixed level cap. That's like having the ability to take a shower when everyone around you is at an anime convention. He gets
Great analogy, Guck. Great analogy.
so stupid. Shower OP. He gets so stupidly overleveled that he can outdo anyone in their specialized role. He's a mage, fighter, tank, assassin, healer combo. So he's basically just as toxic as Season 10 Ornn from League of Legends.
Whoever got that reference, I have a message for you. Ladies and gentlemen, did you get that reference? Okay, well, I have something to tell you if you got this reference. You're a loser, baby, a loser, goddamn baby, you're a...
But that's not even his main ability. Eventually he gains the ability to summon shadows from any monster he kills, essentially becoming a
Dude, I love him so much, dude. Igris time.
one
Or is it Ignis? Igris?
man army. Like, what the fuck?
I love this power so much. Dude, this man just says arise, and I swear to God he's talking to my dick.
But it works because the world itself is set up for his success. The world is a mishmash of Sword Art Online, Darker Than Black, and One Punch Man. What I like is how
guess so.
modern society is built around the existence of hunters. You're not just limited to one country. A nation's entire strength is built around the strength of their hunters. S-ranked hunters are a precious
Dude, he has to stop doing that every time he says hunters, please.
resource that can dictate a country's military and political strength. Sung Jin Woo's rise
God, he's so badass, it's crazy.
isn't just something that affects the hunter's world. It's
It affects the political landscape of everyone.
one that ripples throughout the entire world and affects the geopolitical landscape. Just gives him more fucking moments to be badass.
That's the beauty of this show. The beauty of this show is you think you're watching a show based on a man's rise to power. Someone who was weak, someone who was pathetic, and someone who finally manages to develop a way to improve himself and become strong. When in fact, you are watching a show that is designed to make this man flex every possible time. He will flex solo, he will flex in public, he will have people there not to serve any purpose of the plot aside from witnessing the flexing that he is going to be doing.
I don't know what to say. What I love about Solo Leveling is that it knows what it wants to be and gives you that on steroids. It ups the ante to a global scale. You've got teams from Korea, Japan, China, and of course America, who are depicted as exactly how you think Koreans would depict Americans.
Ah, yeah, he looks just like Joe Biden. What the fuck? That's crazy. Is that Joe Biden?
69!
And I think one major
Oh my god, no, not the Squid Game references.
aspect that can't be ignored is that the art is fucking outstanding.
Yeah, the art's awesome. I hope the anime keeps the quality up.
You hear stories of mangakas working themselves to death doing weekly manga chapters, so I don't know what kind of fucking black magic the webcomic industry has cut
Frick, look at that panel!
us to allow us to enjoy full colored weekly chapters that look like this. I mean, just look at this. This puts most manga to shame, but beyond that, it also uses its medium to its full advantage.
The lighting, the lighting effects that they use is just insane.
Webcomics, as opposed to manga, are not separated via pages. It's a medium designed to be viewed on the phone that allows you to endlessly scroll down, almost like it's one continuous image. And what this means is that some of the most impressive moments are accentuated by these panels that seemingly never end. An
Yeah,
epic
dude, they really used this medium to the fullest.
depiction of a battlefield or action that flows seamlessly as you scroll down in a way that you just can't do with manga constrained by a 2-page spread. It can make the action easier to follow, or the scale of the battle seems so much more grand. I read all of
I am very excited for this anime to keep going.
Solo Leveling in a day. It's one of those series that was infinitely
Dude, he's just like me. When I started Solo Leveling, I read the first like 2-3 chapters, and then I went to sleep, okay? And then the next day, I read like 3 more chapters, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to sleep. And then I literally didn't sleep, and then I read the entire thing in one night. I went from chapter 3 to the very end of where it was up to at that time. I literally read all of that overnight, and then I just had a regular day the next day, making believe my life was not weird.
one of those series that was infinitely bingeable, because after saying all this, I think I'm missing the biggest thing that contributes to this manhwa's success.
There's a what's next aspect to this story. It's like you always want to see him leveling up. You always want to see what the next incredible flex he's gonna have.
Nothing. You know, as I was watching
Okay, never mind. Never mind!
this video, I really tried to rack my brain as to why Solo Leveling was so fucking fun and such a huge success.
It's the fact that it complements itself on every single media of self-insert. It's the self-insert overpowered trope at the same time as the self-insert self-improvement trope. And it's something that you really don't see at the same time. Like, you have self-improvement stories and you have overpowered stories, but conjoining them into one, I think, is really, really fascinating. Not to mention just it being fucking awesome and badass ball-to-the-wall action the entire time.
That way, I can end this video off with some cool, introspective moment that really nails down what makes this series so special above all its competition. But then I realized what it really does best is absolutely nothing new. So instead, I'm going to talk about Kitchen Nightmares.
Yeah! What?
I fucking love Kitchen Nightmares, and I don't know a single person who doesn't. It's one of those shows where if it comes on or I see someone watching it, no matter what I'm doing, I'm just like, yeah, I got time to watch.
Oh my god, Gigguk's a Hassan Piker fan? No! Everything changed. Everything changed.
And if you've never seen a single episode before, let me break it down for you. We open up to a struggling restaurant with a cocky owner who's just like, I have the greatest restaurant in the world, the food is perfect, and that's why the restaurant has put me in $90,000 of debt. It's Gordon Ramsay, big dick energy, orders everything on the menu. Chef gets the order and is like, I'm gonna cook Chef Ramsay our signature dish.
He's gonna love that shit.
My
I'm gonna give him a cock potato. He's gonna love it.
microwaved chicken, baby. So of course, Gordon takes one bite of the chicken, calls the waitress over and is like,
This is absolutely shit.
chicken is rawer than my dick after... This chicken is rawer than my dick one day after not November.
Oh god, don't stop, please. No.
So he goes to the kitchen, it's like, Oi, how are you cooking your food? With a microwave, chef. With a microwave? Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Dude is doing a really good job summarizing this show.
If you know Chef Ramsay is coming, why would you not cook your food on the day? It blows my mind. So then, of course, Gordon has this inspirational talk that turns everything around. That's like, all right, shut it. I'm about to blow your mind.
Getting an oven.
What if you cook the food without a microwave?
I think he's forgetting the best part of the show. The best part of the show is the cocky chef being like, nah, this Gordon guy doesn't know what he's talking about. My great-grandfather started this restaurant with a microwave, and I'm gonna keep it doing. I'm not gonna change the recipes because this Gordon schmuck thinks he knows what he's talking about. That's the best part of the show. And then watching him have to eat his own ass afterwards.
So they learn to use fresh ingredients, and everyone lives happily ever after. I swear, just don't Google it because the restaurant's still probably out of business. And that's Kitchen Nightmares. Oh, that was awful, but I had way too much fun recording that. My point is that I know exactly what I'm getting into. Basically, every episode has an identical, repeatable formula, but I don't care because it's so goddamn entertaining. And if a clip appears in my timeline that shows me that the food is not bussin', you bet your ass I'm gonna—
Oh my god, he said bussin'. He said bussin'! When did he post this? This was 2020. 2021, that's my guess. With my way. Alright.
gonna click on it to see if the food's not bussin'. This is how I feel with isekai and a lot of power fantasy shows. At this point, it's kind of just become my comfort foods because when I look at Solo Leveling, there is not a lot different to what we usually complain about.
I do suppose. Look, I've always said Solo Leveling is peak mid. Solo Leveling is a peak mid anime. It's not gonna absolutely blow your mind giving you something that you've never seen before. But as far as just the mid shows that we ingest to make us feel cool, bro, it is peak of that mid. It's peak mid and I will not change my mind!
Seen a load of comments referring to Sung Jin-woo being like, haha, this is how Kirito's done right. And I'm just like, wait. What? The man is even more perfect and flawless
No, he's not, because he has to grow! He has to grow! He's peak mid!
than Kirito ever was. I mean, the guy's functionally in... God, I wish I could...
Oh my god, dude! That was Invincible Season 1 reference. Pfft, cringe, outdated.
Go from this to this. Man went from rice gum to full-on K-pop in the span of about 5 chapters. He literally looks like the 8th member of BT...
That's a good gimmick. All right, Gigguk, that was funny.
Yes.
I approve.
So yeah, of course Kirito's gonna lose when he's up against the literal unbeatable army Sung Jin-woo has behind him. K-pop stands. Only recently has enemies been introduced that actually pose a real threat, because before that, pretty much every story arc plays out the exact same way. The shit is almost everything everyone shits on a show like Sword Art Online for.
Yeah, and I've always been saying that this show, listen, I have been getting hate for saying that Solo Leveling is not peak. Solo Leveling is peak mid. I recognize that. And if you recognize that, you will have such a fun time with this story. Don't expect more than a peak mid story.
Some reason, whenever my brain was like, man, you know what, the story's getting kind of repetitive, Sung Jin-woo would show up and be like, oh.
It's also not boring. Like, a lot of isekai stories and power fantasy stories have just so much build-up until the final main character shows up and destroys everyone. I think Overlord is just like your average, the people that set this standard, that you will have a 12-episode arc of lizards having sex with each other. And then Ainzul Gown shows up and completely flexes on everyone, puts his dick on the table, and everyone, you know, screams. A lot of stories have that. Solo Leveling does it.
Arise. And then the shadows would be like, and then Sung Jin-woo would be like, shring. and then his eyes would do the glowy thing, and then it would just start kicking ass, and then everyone
Dude, why is he so accurate?
else would be like, hey, isn't he meant to be an A-ranked hunter? And then my brain would be like, oh man, that was so cool. What was I talking about again? It really is just the rule of cool on crack. Its biggest strength is that it does nothing new, but what it does do is done in the best possible way you
Sounds like he's describing peak mid.
can hope for. If you have no interest in these epic power fantasy shows, then this isn't going to change your mind about them at all. But if there's just a small part of you that craves that OP protagonist beatdown,
this is everything. Dude, just look at the scene. The black color is so black. How did they do that?
is about as good as the genre can get. It just works for the medium it's in, and for anyone who's like, oh man, I can't wait for the anime adaptation, I have 2 words for you.
Oh, are you going to eat those 2 words?
CG shadows.
No! Oh god, please, for the love of God, I am begging you, anime studios, don't you dare prove him right. Don't you dare prove him. Who's making this show? Who's producing Solo Leveling? If this is done by like one of those A1 Pictures type, A1 Pictures, no! I literally just said that. Oh my god, I just guessed. I completely guessed. No. Oh my god, please. No, the A1 Pictures known for quality and it's like 7 Deadly Sins where they didn't at all screw it. Oh.
Solo Leveling is not the 27th best manga of all time. It's not even close. But very few other webcomics get my adrenaline pumping quite like Solo Leveling does. This is power fantasy at its finest, which is perfect for isekai power fantasy trash like me. And even though it does fall victim to pretty much everything we complain about when it comes to those generic power fantasy stories.
Yeah, it's mid, but it's peak mid. I'm gonna keep saying this because it keeps annoying people and I like doing that.
It's predictable and all, it is your definition of turn your brain off fun. Basically, what it boils down to is Sword Art Online. The cooler Sword Art Online.
I mean, that's what I call a baby man.
That was a good video. It was a good video. It's a great manwa. I'm excited for it. Eminence in Shadow is still better. See, Eminence in Shadow is not peak mid. Eminence in Shadow is just straight up peak. Eminence in Shadow is fucking great. All right, Eminence in Shadow peak. This peak mid. I'm just saying. Like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch. Stay weird, fam.